are here at Ray's with the Savage Henrys, and we are going to do a brief interview and just kind of hang out and talk about some things. Have each of you been playing your instruments?
Oof. Well, I kind of play a little bit of everything, but I really got serious about the drums because of the Savage Henrys. The story of how it started is actually pretty good, because Joe gets back into town and he's like, "Hey, I saw that you bought a drum set a while back." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like in pieces in my closet." He's like, "You should put it together and we should jam." And I'm like, "Okay." And then he calls me like the next day and he's like, "Hey, I got this guy named Robert and I want to come over and he can jam." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so he comes over and jams, and then Joe calls me and he's like, "We need to practice." And I was like, "Oh, do we?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a show booked."
Was it like that fast?
It was literally that fast.
It was pretty close. I remember pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was literally like a couple of weeks. Like, yeah.
So I remember Joe had the show and he needed a band.
That could be true.
So the way I remember it was, I got off work early one day and I called Joe to be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm going to Chris's to jam. I had just met you like a week earlier." And then he was like, "I'm going. What do you should come over." I said, "Okay," and I played guitar forever, so I was like, "What gear should I bring?" He was like, "No, I think you should play bass." And I was like, "Oh, bro."
It's like never played.
Like I never really played bass.
before.
You know, I was like kind of against it at first, and then but then we went over and it just.
Yeah, you took to it, man. Like, yeah.
So, Savage Henry.
Apparently there was no room for
But I also seem to remember the original plan kind of being because we had 2 weeks to get it together for the supervillain show.
Yeah, because they definitely. That makes sense.
There was the supervillains ballet.
It was
show
sold out
thing.
too. It was a huge first show. Like, I'd never played the drums in front of.
But we were gonna swap after it. That was I remember being he was gonna go back to playing bass. I was gonna play guitar. But we practiced a bunch and then we played the show and we just liked how it sounded. So it just stayed.
And just jived.
Yeah.
But that would have been. Man, that was quite a while ago. It was like 14 years ago or something.
I actually posted something on the Ray's Media the other day, and I asked people, what was your first show at Ray's? We got at least 3 responses being,
it was
first
a crazy
time
big
Savage
show.
Henry's ever played.
Yeah, that
was a lot of fun. Yeah, I do remember now that I started playing music again because I was hanging out with all of these, musicians that... They were doing a lot of folk musicians, I guess. Some of them were some of the most amazing musicians and people I've ever met, and some of them were just kind of hanging out. And all the really amazing ones had shit going on, and the ones that were just hanging out, they all had these I don't want to play the bass. I just want to play music. And I remember being down here way too drunk one night, and Stan had me fill in playing acoustic for some dumb thing they had going on here. It was a Wednesday night special show.
Oh, yeah.
And I played it, I was talking to Stan, and he's like, "Yeah, we got the supervillains coming." And I was like, "You want to let me open?" And he was like, "Yeah, if you want to, you can do your acoustic thing." And I think I woke up the next morning with, my tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth, just fuck, did I book a show last night? And at the time, I had, maybe 6 or 7 songs written. I think we wrote 1 or 2 before the show even started, because we didn't even have a full set.
It was.
We had to do 30 minutes. We had to make it happen.
That is an insane start.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Well, yeah.
Necessity's the mother of all invention, right? Yeah, we just hit it. Yeah.
Well, and then the story that doesn't get talked about much too is the first name.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. Let's dip into that.
Yeah. Well, when Joe and I first met, we bought...
You made it sound like it was such a big...
Well, it's a funny story. It's a ridiculous... Joe and I bonded early over being Hunter S. Thompson fans, so we knew we wanted it to be something Thompson related. So the original name was The Great Shark Hunt,
Great White Shark Hunt,
which is one of his books. Yeah. And we thought it sounded sick, but then we quickly realized that doesn't fit on a flyer well or a billboard. And
it sounds like cunt really clearly.
Yeah,
if you say it wrong.
By the end of the night, we were the Great Shark Hunt. So it was just this isn't gonna.
That's what it says on the first flyer.
Yeah,
it is. On the first one, it says the Great Shark Hunt. But
that is hilarious.
I wanted to change it to some version of jumping the shark. The
yeah.
yeah.
I like
and
that
so.
too.
I
Like
think
the
I
Fonz?
pitched Shark Jumper, and that was like a hardcore band in Florida or something. Yeah. I was like,
why that's
Yeah,
such a cool
damn
name, dude.
damn it! Hardcore bands in Florida always just killing me.
So then, how did the name?
There's a really Hunter songs.
It's
So
another
it's
rap.
full of
So
shit.
in-
Yeah, all his books are
in,
crazy.
in
but
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, when they pick up the hitchhiker, they lie to him. They say, we're going to Vegas to croak a skag baron named Savage Henry.
everyone
Okay.
deals. Some
So I was
vicious
I
heroin
was
dealer.
I was also hammered myself watching that movie. I said, that sounds good. I wrote it down and put it in my pocket. And I was at work the next day, and it was like said to Savage Henry. So I was like, hey guys, how about this?
It had a ring to it too.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
actually, I think there's one or two. There's a band out there called Savage Henry's and like the infamous 9-pounders.
The 1-pounders or whatever.
The 1-pounders, yeah.
They wear luchador masks.
Cheers to them. Yeah, they have a pretty
There's also a
awesome thing
DJ.
going on. Yeah, there's a DJ and somebody else. We're not the only Henrys out there. I
Yeah.
can guarantee you we're probably the drunkest and the silliest ones. But I don't know. The 1-pounders might have us beat on
I
that.
know, yeah.
If they were, you said they wear luchador masks.
Yeah, they wear like wrestling.
Yeah,
and
they're
They're
songs and
probably
shit.
cool.
Well, they're, look at
We've known each other for a long time. We were in bands together in high school and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, but he had moved away, and when he moved back, that's when we met Robert.
Mhm.
I'm the baby.
Yeah, because he was hanging out with all those other people that he was in that same group with. This is where I met my wife and everything. Like, they're all kind of hanging out in the same group of people, and they're all playing music, and that's why immediately when you're starting like asking people if they want to play music, people get wishy-washy really quick. And Robert and Christoph were the first two people I talked to that were like, okay, like I'm down, let's do it. And so yeah, we all kind of got together at that, on that point.
They had like different influences and stuff, right? You know, because like we were in like punk rock, like quasi punk metal kind of band and stuff back in the day, and they were the people that you're referencing. It was all really like artistic, and it was all
Pretty folky
yeah.
and avant-garde.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think
They
of
use
it.
a lot of big words too.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. It's just
Not really what we grew up doing.
It's lower energy stuff.
Well, there was a
Right.
big void, when I came home. When I left, there were so many bands going on, and like the punk rock scene was big, and the metal scene was really big. And when I came back, a bunch of the metal bands had been holding it down for a long time. Bomb the Streets was one of the only like punk rock. They're like super hardcore punk rock band, but they were one of the only punk bands around. And seeing not having that kind of music that that we all like, that was kind of one of the reasons that we wanted to do it, because there was an opening for it. And so
Well, it's what we love. Like that's our history and stuff, right?
yeah, we got started at the legendary Atomic City Records, which was right above the store on the corner where Adventures is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hallway above that, and facing the street, they
It's
had
like
a
a
venue
yoga
there.
studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've been in there, and
Yeah.
I heard about this.
Yeah, so there's this really amazing guy, Dustin Steckart,
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic human being, but he
Wonderful person.
was the first person to really, in our generation, he was the first person that put it out there and paid the money and dodged the fines and brought people in and brought bands in and
Kind of created.
yeah,
this
and
stuff.
taught the young kids how what's kind of expected as far as not being a dick to people and treating
Music
everybody with
and
respect and stuff and
Local etiquette.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Scene, he just has so much love for, and felt like
We
they
feel it
had-
for sure.
You
Yeah.
guys had this venue's back more than, and him and his dad personally, more than anyone.
That's why we're here right now.
Yeah.
We haven't played a show in a lot. Well, we did. What happened? Dustin Steckart passed away, and we got asked to play that, and that was just an automatic absolutely we're gonna do that.
No question.
Even though I feel like a piece of shit because we didn't really talk to each other for quite a while.
Yeah.
And the first time, when a friend of ours hit me up asking if we wanted to play, and I said, I'm 100% in, and I can pretty much guarantee you that will be good, but I don't think I'd talk to anybody in person in 3 or 4 years. And I know it was the first time I talked to Robert in a long time. And immediately both of them were like, yeah, we'll fucking do it. And then we were
It's
really
been
excited.
awesome
Yeah.
to get back together too.
Yeah.
like for a terrible reason, but you know, on the flip side, like so. I guess so appreciative that I got to be involved in honoring somebody that I feel like had a big impact on my life, and it's the same thing with this.
It's like it's like the only thing we could do too. It's like, how do we help? What do we do? It's like, well, you guys play shows. Yeah, he got us our first shows, so it's like that's what we do. That's what he would have wanted us to do.
Well, and
yeah, it was good.
It I don't know. It's been a blast, like relearning all of this stuff. You know, like because you know I hadn't played these songs in 10 years or something.
I had a kid and just kind of quit playing music for a couple of years. I've only recently kind of started getting back into playing again.
The scene's coming back.
Yeah.
So
we feel so like wanting to support, you know, Andrew and Talon and doing this is because they're the ones like Dustin who like and like Ran and or Stan and Ray that like fucking stepped up to make a space for this kind of music to exist here. And
I think that they're the right guys to do it too.
100%.
Everybody
I
involved
feel like
is
they might have
right
been
for it.
some of the only people who could be doing it.
Well,
that's just like it's for so many of us too, and it being the all ages place, we would have been up to way worse shit if we didn't have this place growing up. And you know, they provided the outlet. Like, it was.
It kept us out of a great deal of trouble. That's for sure.
There's somewhere to go with all your friends.
Well, and like the whole like reason for some of us is like our reason for existence was like to play music. Like it wasn't to get up and like go to school and excel in school every day. It was like get school over with as fast as possible so we could go play music.
And it wasn't just like where to go, like with your friends. That's where like it's where you met your friends.
Yeah,
right.
It didn't matter what music was playing.
I think that all of this. You know, I made a comment about Dustin taught community to a certain extent. We're both military kids. And so, like, I've moved everywhere. Like, I've been all over the country, and, you know, I've had, like, 20 different houses or something. And when I moved here in high school, and like, I was seeking out, like, a group. Like, I was seeking out, you know, people the like-minded, and, you know, and they just also happened to congregate at, like, one place. And, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get accepted.
Well, I was so nervous. I was like, because again, I'm quite a few years younger than I'm a handful of years younger than these guys. So, my first show was the last show at Atomic.
Okay.
Because like
the first show you saw?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd always wanted to go, but no one would go with me, and I was afraid to go by myself. But then somebody handed me a flyer to it, which made me feel invited.
That's what happened to me.
And so that I was just like, I need to go to this. And then again, I was 12 or 13. I was in 8th grade, and I was all afraid what people were going to think of me. But everybody was so psyched that I was there. They taught me how to go in. They took me up the stairs. Like, that's where I met Dustin. And, like, they showed me, like, they taught me to, like, moshing protocol. Look out for the pole. Like, you know, and stuff like that.
Someone falls
like,
down.
Yeah, they do, like, don't be worried about if you fall down, someone will pick you up. And so, like, that was my first experience, was the last one there. And then it transitioned over here. So I grew up here, but I got to experience that place once.
Yeah, my first show was at Atomic. Yeah, you've been to a couple of shows before because your older brother's like hella into music.
There was shows at Lee's before Atomic was established. I saw Killtone Theory at Lee's. I also saw some local metal like Tendai and stuff like that. There was some out at the fairgrounds too, and at the what's the
Hoedown?
No, I got here post Hoedown.
Mine was too young.
Yeah, but they had some like at the Oddfellows or Eagles or something like that. Like I saw Scotty Kellogg and the punk ass bitches at like I think it was the Eagles. I'm not sure. It's like a catering place now over there.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's right next to the cemetery.
Yeah, they did shows there.
I never been
there. Like the cemetery in Richland.
Yeah, you know that like catering building.
Yeah.
It used to be like the community hall kind of place.
Eagles or
you rent it out for your wedding and shit.
It
was Oddfellows.
Oh, there you go.
But
I'm 99% sure I saw Scotty Kellogg, and it was a Dustin show, but it was just before I knew Dustin.
That's where Dustin was doing it before he stumbled into doing it at Atomic. Cause yeah, the first show I went to was Scotty Kellogg and the Punk Ass Bitches, and they played with the Creeps.
Great name.
And the
I love
Creeps.
that name.
Oh, the Creeps.
They like Robert was saying about feeling welcome. It was the first show I'd ever been to, and I went by myself. I was like 15, and these guys are considerably older than me, like late 20s, and they were just so pumped. They're like, "This is your first show, awesome!"
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, I
exactly.
helped them load their shit in, and then I saw them play it, and they were like one of the most amazing, like fastest, angriest, like snotty, pissed off, like punk rock music
Screaming.
you could ever hear in your life. And it just blew my fucking mind. I was like, this is just what I want to do. Like, I want to see this. I want to do this from now on, you know? And that's kind of, it took a long break from it. And then when I got back and started being around it again, it was impossible to not be like, we want to do this again, you know?
You felt that passion right there, and then
It's kind of an addicting thing too. It's like
It's
kind of like getting a
definitely-
tattoo, right? Like you get one and then you just are like, I should get another one. I should get another one of those. You know, because it's just it like I don't know. I think of it kind of like a road map in life, right? You know, these are like anchor points, and you know.
Well, it's also like, yeah, and to that too, it's like we all play like, you know, Chris is in other bands and Joe and I play acoustically and stuff, but nothing scratches the itch like doing this.
Talking all the like old bands and shows and stuff, like it's interesting how interconnected like all of these things are, because so like a lot of people that are gonna show up at the show and that are gonna, you know, watch the interviews and stuff, they probably didn't get to see a Damagers show, right? Because it wasn't a band that was around for a long time.
Yeah.
But the drummer of the Damagers was our good friend from high school that we were in bands
Yeah.
with. And then after I left the Henrys, he started
Yeah,
to
he
play drums
does,
with the
and
Henrys.
he recorded a bunch
And
of
he
our
was,
music and
and
stuff.
he was also the drummer in one of my favorite bands in high school, and then ended up getting he ended up being
Yeah,
our
yeah,
drummer
Manic
later.
Mantra.
So it was like
Just
crazy.
all
Yeah.
circle
The bass player for the Damagers plays bass for Get 'Em Tiger, who I
You're in that
jam
band
with,
right now, yeah.
And Isaac is the drum. Jameson's the bass player, and Isaac the drummer. He plays drums with me in Daggerface now. Like, yeah.
Pretty incestuous.
Yeah. Well, and he's like a prolific drummer, man.
Yeah.
He's talented.
He's a
yeah.
prolific musician.
Yeah, I've been trying to learn some of the drum parts that he wrote for the show, just because, like, you know, I'm trying to play things that weren't just from when I was with the Henrys and stuff.
We've had 4 drummers.
Yeah.
And man, it's some tough stuff, man. Yeah.
What's your guys' most memorable show at Ray's?
When the dude filled up 3 pitchers of beer with puke on behind the drum set and didn't stop playing. It wasn't one of our shows.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of our shows, but that one sticks out as one of the most memorable things I've ever seen. You were there, weren't you? Because we were standing by the front door and the drummer started like looking like he had too much to drink, and he grabbed the pitcher and like filled it up like during a drum break, and then set it down and started playing.
Oh my
so
gosh.
awesome. Yeah,
That's
Sounds like
hilarious.
something I would have been around for.
it was like a touring band too. I can't even remember who it was, but I was just so
Well, it was
impressed.
a
Like,
professional.
fucking
Yeah.
pro, dude.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Didn't even
I
miss a
was
beat.
really impressed. I know that like Froder, maybe Jeff Williams was staying with me. Our first show was pretty memorable.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to narrow it down to one, but like the Cobra Skulls.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say Cobra Schools is
Yeah,
very much
playing.
sticks out.
Our first show at the Nemesis house.
Tijuana.
When we met, we played in Tijuana. That was
Tijuana is definitely,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, that would be one that, like, you know, I'd still be talking about that, like, you know, 20 years.
That whole
from now.
tour, that whole first tour we went on with our band
Yeah.
boyfriends in Burn.
Yeah, we played American Girl in Tijuana in front of, like, just a packed, like
Like
I
300 or
mean, there must have
400
been-
people.
yeah.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was
People
the
that
biggest
came
show
from
we ever
Mexico
played.
City, you
I-
know, it was like they were so stoked we were there. They were telling us like American bands aren't coming here right now.
Yeah, it
like
was all
high to
that
cartel shit was going
Well,
on.
people were
Yeah.
free.
Yeah,
People were
walked in.
trying
We
to
parked our
scare
van at
us
the
out
border
of it.
and just walked in.
Oh shit.
And
Like-
then we like walked to the venue, and then it was time to leave. We got paid. We're like, see you guys later, because we like paid attention of how to get back.
Well, they sent
and they were like,
someone
no,
with- yeah.
we're sending like 6 people with you.
Yeah.
You can't go the way we went before. We
Oh,
have to go because
shit.
it's past midnight and it's
Yeah.
dark.
It wasn't sketchy though. Like I've been in some really sketchy places.
Well, there's like 9 of us, so we're not like that
Yeah,
small.
I've
you
been
know,
in some
but
Yeah.
they were still like they wanted to make. They walked us to the doors.
Yeah, the vibe I got that they were
Heard about
mostly
that,
worried
actually.
about us getting shook down by the cops.
Yeah.
Because right when we first got there, like they pointed them out and they were like, you know,
And we
try
had
to
a bu-
fucking avoid any interaction with them. Like, don't be a stupid drunk American. And so we were just like, not too.
Not-
So we were stupid drunk Americans, so we were trying to really keep it.
We
under
did our
wraps.
best. We had people really tried to scare us off that show, and I remember
It was a blast.
when
Oh,
we were
so
in San
much-
Diego,
so
we
much
almost didn't go. One of the kids on the tour, basically, his parents were like, "If you go, we're not gonna pay for your college." Like, yeah, they were really,
right.
really
Oh,
concerned
man.
about it. And it ended up being like one of the craziest things that
Yeah, the
coolest
guy,
things we've ever
the
done.
guy
So much
who
fun.
they threatened to like pull his tuition and stuff, he became a journalist and went to
Fantastic.
like terrible places.
Probably
too.
when he
He
lived
lived in
in-
like Sierra Leone. and
His
stuff.
first big piece was on the Ebola outbreak,
Yeah.
Oh my
and he
God.
went straight over there and he was covering it.
He
and
was living outside of a diamond mine for a while. He had a piece on Vice, I remember. Yeah.
I like how you guys
Yeah,
Amazing.
Giving the coop scoop,
All
dude.
he was
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, a wonderful dude.
Yeah. So talented. All
So
of those
talented.
guys, so much fun.
Yeah, the guy who was the I mean, he was basically the translator, right? Like, like he was somebody that we met through that like
Paolo
pirate
was
con-
his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still follow him on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the back to your question before we tangent off super hard again. Another weird connection thing. So technically, I had my wedding reception here.
Oh,
We played with millions of dead cops, and like all the streets and the church and stuff, and that was a pretty memorable show for me.
That was fun.
We had a really good time. I think Stan gave us like a death margarita, me and my wife, in a glass like this big. I'm sure the glass is still here somewhere. And then you're getting married the day before the show.
Well, back to that night though. Did you see the pictures of Joe and his tiny whities on stage? That was the wedding night show.
That was the wedding night?
Yeah, that was the night you
Oh,
got
I
down
didn't-
into
I
nothing.
didn't remember
That
that
was the
was the
night you.
reception.
That was you really dropped trow.
Well,
Cowboy hat.
I remember you
like-
dancing.
No,
and
the
stuff.
hat, the cowboy hat, the green cowboy hat was St. Patrick's Day. 'Cause
No.
that's-
It was the leather cowboy hat.
Oh, yeah,
And
no,
undies,
that,
that was your wedding night. No,
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
I like that there's multiple
I remember.
cowboys.
multiple
I was
thongs,
there.
multiple cowboy hats,
Yeah.
reversible jackets.
Reverse.
I'm a Renaissance man.
Playing with the Agent Orange too.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was not here, but it was kind of one of those like band brotherhood moments because everybody was, had some. Everybody had a memorable experience.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way, and we got to play with some of the younger kids bands too. Dysfunctional Society,
Yeah.
bunch of shredders.
Still around.